For every 5 loved Gumball characters, there are another 5 who are completely despised. And today, we're gonna compare them all, starting with the most hated Gumball character of all time, Mrs. Robinson, who probably just came straight out of hell. Unlike most of the other characters in the show, who might be flawed but still have something lovable about them, Mrs. Robinson has no redeeming qualities.
Don't worry, Mrs. Robinson. We'll get Rocky and save your husband! Nice.
Unlike her husband, Mr. Robinson, Margaret doesn't have any moments in the show that have her grow as a character, and no episode shows just how evil she can be better than the wicked. In this episode, she gets squirrels to attack people, almost runs over Gumball and Darwin, and even switches babies' name tags just to start a fight. But that's not even half as bad as what she does next. When Darwin acts like he's choking to test her kindness, she makes Darwin actually choke by tossing a toy car right into his mouth. When Darwin gives her a chance to save him, she smiles and shuts the door on him, leaving him to die. Thankfully, Gumball was there to save him, but if he wasn't, Darwin would have literally died. At least with Mr. Robinson, fans like him because there's more to his character. While he's definitely grumpy and often argues with the Watersons, he also has his funny moments, and even moments that show he's not entirely heartless. His interactions feel more genuine and entertaining, which adds to the overall charm of the show and makes it more of a likable character. But with Mrs. Robinson, anytime she makes an appearance, she is always the same evil and mean-spirited character we all know. Margaret was made in the fiery pits of the underworld. Which villain is the most evil? Mrs. Robinson. But while Mrs. Robinson isn't liked for her being straight up evil and hating everyone, Darwin is loved for his likable personality and loyalty to friends and family. Since his debut, Darwin won over fans with his positive energy, big heart, and constant effort to do what's right, even if it means putting others' needs ahead of his own. He just has a really big heart. He's always out there trying to do the right thing. Take the episode The Fan, for example. Gumball and Darwin find out they have an obsessive fan named Sarah, who follows them around and stalks their every move, doing stuff like recording them while they're changing in the bathroom, and weirdly shipping herself with both of them. Naturally, they get creeped out and eventually confront her, which ends up making her really upset and depressed. While her behavior was definitely over the line, Darwin chooses to be understanding and encourages Gumball to give her a second chance.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I know, right?
I'm definitely taller than you, and if my eyes were that close together, I'd be a cyclops.
No, she really cares about us, and we just pushed her away. Look at this.
The Amazing Adventures of Gumball, Darwin, and Sarah. Oh man, all she ever wanted was to be included.
Instead of pushing her away completely, he helps her feel seen and included. This really shows Darwin's abilities to look over someone's flaws and respond with kindness when most people wouldn't. However, even though Darwin is seen as sweet and is an adored character, sometimes he takes things a little too far and lets his true colors show. He can be surprisingly manipulative, jealous, and even a bit self-centered when things don't go his way. These moments, while rare, show that he's not always perfect, but let's be real, none of us are as perfect as we seem. Yeah, I see you watching the video, thinking you're slick by not being subscribed. Anyways, I just think that makes it more relatable and makes you connect with him even more. People who watch the show often say they relate to Darwin the most. While they could connect with a lot of different things about him, it's his effort to be kind and become a better person that really hits home for a lot of fans. He's not perfect, nobody is, but as long as you're trying to grow and treat others with kindness, you're already on the right track, and that's exactly what makes Darwin so easy to connect with. But while Darwin is loved for his personality and relatability, Tobias is hated for just existing. Tobias is your typical rich, bratty school jock, except he's not actually talented or athletic. No matter how cool he tries to act or what he says, it's pretty clear he's trying way too hard. Bro is basically the Jack Doherty of Gumball.
Dude, FYI, you look thunder lame when you pull that pose. What does it even mean?
It's chunking the deuce, man.
And what does that mean?
Tobias is basically just your typical rich kid. He constantly throws money at situations, even going as far as to pay people to be his friends. When that doesn't work, he joins other people's conversations, whether he's needed or not. A perfect example of Tobias being absolutely unbearable is in the episode The One, where Tobias keeps interrupting Gumball and Darwin with random annoying comments that nobody asked for. And when they finally confront him, he tries to tear down all their friends just so he can be their one and only friend. But his need for attention doesn't stop there. He's always bragging about how athletic he is and trying to act like the most popular kid in school, even though most people don't see him that way at all. His confidence often tips into full-on delusion, and he's completely unaware about how little anyone actually cares about what he has to say. Overall, his personality is quite annoying, and it makes sense why fans dislike him so much. However, his arrogant, egotistical personality is clearly intentional, and he plays the role perfectly. I hate Tobias. He is such a pick-me and an annoying. Like, WTF, he needs to learn how to stop stealing other people's girlfriends. He is a character who I do hate, honestly. He is just so cringe. Despite all the hate Tobias gets, I think he's definitely an essential character for the show. He serves as someone for Gumball to clash with and is a comedic punching bag for others. So, while he can be annoying at times, he also makes for a great antagonist, which is a big part of why some fans enjoy his character. But while Tobias is generally pretty hated, on the flip side, Richard is loved by almost everyone, and it's not hard to see why. Richard is the ideal dad that any kid would want. He's chill, caring, and lets you do whatever you want. He might not be the best role model for his children, but he always tries his hardest to be a good dad, and that's exactly why so many fans adore him. I like Richard Watterson as a character more than Patrick Star. I find Richard funnier, more relatable, and more likable. This is coming from someone whose favorite show of all time is SpongeBob. Richard is never mean-spirited or cruel. Well, he might be the laziest person in the universe and a bit clueless. His love for his family is always front and center. He's harmless, goofy, and full of heart, and that's what makes him so lovable. But sometimes he can be too nice. For example, in the episode The Castle, Richard is left in charge for the day, but can't bring himself to kick out the random people who barged into their house. But of course, Nicole comes to the rescue and has everyone clean up the house in no time. She's definitely someone you don't want to mess with. Speaking of Nicole, another reason Richard is so well loved is because of their dynamic in their relationship. Nicole is always the adult in the relationship, while Richard is pretty much just another kid in the Watterson family. But that's exactly what makes their dynamic so entertaining to watch. The difference between Nicole's hardworking, no-nonsense attitude and Richard's laid-back, clueless behavior makes for great plots. Despite their differences, their relationship is actually pretty wholesome. Nicole might get frustrated with Richard's antics, but you can tell she really loves him, and he definitely adores her. It's that whole opposites attract thing that makes them such a memorable and lovable couple, and I think the fans agree. However, something fans can't seem to agree on is their opinions on Sarah. Sarah is your typical over-the-top obsessive fan, known for creating bizarre fanfics and constantly shipping characters together. She's often disliked by fans because of her obsession with Gumball and Darwin, and how annoying she can be. She was first introduced as a harmless admirer of Gumball and Darwin, which is not so weird, especially in the world of Gumball. However, she quickly turns into an obsessive stalker, crossing the line and coming off as intrusive and uncomfortable to watch.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with you following us.
Don't worry.
You'll never see me.
In the episode The Shippening, Sarah takes her obsession with fanfic to a whole new level. Remember how she's originally focused all her fanfiction on Gumball and Darwin? Well, in this episode, she takes it a step further by rewriting all of reality around her ships, turning Elmore into a chaotic fanfic fantasy world. Although she didn't mean to cause trouble, her weird fantasies and shipping almost ruined everyone's relationships. This obsession got to the point where her entire character revolved around it, which ended up making her more annoying than entertaining. And that's a big reason why so many fans don't like her. The problem I have is she's never punished for trying to force two guys to love her. She's done some horrible stuff and was given what she wanted. Yeah, I'm not a fan of hers either. It's one thing to make a fanfiction about fictional characters, but to make fanfics about people you know? That is just beyond creepy. But a Gumball character who can't be disliked is one whose name is literally in the title of the show, Gumball. Yes, we finally get to the main star himself. If he's not the most loved character on this list, he's certainly up there. And it's easy to see why. Gumball is the first character we meet when we watch the show. And from the start, you can see how he embodies the chaotic energy of the family, leading to wild and entertaining adventures every day. But like any great character, Gumball isn't perfect. He makes his fair share of mistakes. And while he doesn't always learn his lessons right away, he constantly shows a desire to improve. He reflects on his actions and tries to make things right.
Dude, I feel exactly the same.
Really? It's just that I didn't want to look like the bad guy.
Me neither. Friends?
Eh.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
Gumball even has moments of surprising maturity, something you don't see in other characters. Another reason why Gumball is so loved by the community is for his relationship with Darwin. Ever since they met, they have been inseparable, forming a bond that no other pair in the show shares. Their friendship stands out as one of the strongest and most genuine in the show. They help shape each other, balancing out flaws and bringing out the best in one another. Of course, conflicts happen between them, but no matter what challenges come their way, they always manage to work through them and forgive each other, making their bond even stronger. I like Gumball because he's more fun to watch. He's funny, sassy, and snarky. He is so awesome and really relatable. That's why he's my favorite character in the show. I like him. He's one of my favorite characters. My favorite would be Gumball. I love how he's a funny and likable selfish jerk. It's clear that the community appreciates that Gumball isn't a one-dimensional character defined by a single trait. He's more than just a funny or nice character. He's complex, unpredictable, and full of personality. His flaws and more thoughtful moments make him feel real, which is why so many people connect with Gumball. They might not relate to all the wild chaos he deals with every day, but one thing is for sure, they can relate to his character. While Gumball is primarily loved by most of the community, the same cannot be said about Jamie. At first, Jamie was your typical school bully. She mostly only appeared for a few scenes or would play a background character. So why is she so hated? Well, by seasons 3 through 6, her personality seems to have taken a turn for the worst. She went from being a rough around the edges side character to full-on aggressive, and at times just straight up mean for no reason. One of the most uncomfortable examples of this is in the episode The Girlfriend, where she forces Darwin into dating her. Yeah, she doesn't ask, she forces him. And when things don't go her way, she lashes out with aggression rather than backing off. It made viewers feel uneasy, especially since the humor crossed into something that felt more disturbing than funny. Let's be real. If there's one lesson that the amazing world of Gumball teaches, it's that forcing someone into liking you definitely isn't the way to win their heart. On top of that, Jamie is portrayed as not very bright. She frequently messes up words and struggles to understand simple things. She seems to be the whole muscle without the brain role. Combined with her constant hostility, it's easy to see why many fans find it hard to connect with her. But to give her some slack, at least she's not a one-dimensional character. Because in the episode The Buddy, she helps Anais and even shows a hint of vulnerability for once. However, she doesn't show that side of her often, so most fans can't really seem to relate to Jamie. And with her mean-spirited demeanor, it's no surprise that she's disliked by much of the community. But a character that nobody should hate is Nicole Watterson. Nicole is easily one of the best Gumball characters, and it's easy to see why. Sure, the usual fan favorites are Gumball, Darwin, and even sometimes Richard, but Nicole brings something totally different to the table. She stands out because of her layered personality and how fiercely dedicated she is to her family. She's not just a tough mom, she's hardworking, caring, and willing to do whatever it takes to keep her family together, which makes her super relatable and loved by fans. As the backbone of the Watterson household, Nicole balances the roles of a loving mother, a diligent worker at the Rainbow Factory, and a formidable protector to her kids. And Richard. What makes her even more compelling is the depth of her character. She's not just the angry mom, she's someone with a complex past, high expectations for herself, and a fierce love for her family. In the episode The Choices, we get to know Nicole better, and we see flashbacks that give us insights into her life before motherhood and how much she sacrificed for her family. Another reason Nicole Watterson is such a fan favorite is because of how intense and creatively written the episodes centered around her tend to be. While The Choices dives deep into her past and life-changing moment where she met Richard, The Fury shows how cool an episode centered around Nicole can get. In the episode, Nicole is unexpectedly challenged by Yuki, a former friend and rival from her past, who is determined to fight her in a karate match, which starts as a seemingly over-the-top showdown and quickly turns into a powerful moment of reflection, showing just how much Nicole has grown and had to sacrifice for her family. With the inclusion of an anime-inspired fight and the emotional storytelling, it's no surprise why fans love Nicole. Yeah, I've always thought Nicole had a crazy good mother instinct. She makes mistakes sometimes, but is always there for her kids. She is also really athletic and capable of physically defending them. But while people seem to overwhelmingly love Nicole, there seems to be a split on what people think about Miss Simian. And this might be because her character is kind of all over the place. At first, she's introduced as Gumball and Darwin's super strict, kinda mean teacher. Like, she clearly doesn't care much about her students, and seems to enjoy making their lives as miserable as possible. She simply continues the age-old dynamic of the classic student-teacher relationship, where her whole purpose is that she's supposed to be mean to Gumball. However, in other episodes like Party, she literally crashes the kids' party and ends up making it even better, getting wild and actually having fun with everyone.
That's my girl!
It's one of those rare moments where she's not the bitter old teacher, but someone who can actually hang out and bring some fun to the table. It seems that her relationship with Principal Brown is one of the only times where she can be portrayed with genuine emotion and complexity, rather than just a one-note antagonist. So while Miss Simian may have some moments where she can be hated for how she treats her students, it's no surprise why others might like her based on the episodes where she can be a complete vibe. But because of her personality and how mean-spirited she can be, I personally think she deserves a spot in the most hated characters. But while people's opinions are split about Miss Simian, people's thoughts are also all over the place for Anais. Anais is the youngest member of the Watterson family, but don't let her age fool you. At just 4 years old, she's arguably the smartest member of the entire family. What makes her character so unique is that she often takes the lead in saving her family from dire situations. In the episode The Copycats, she prevents her family from falling to their ultimate doom by disconnecting a tank from a truck that couldn't stop. And in the episode, they deal with another family who's basically just a complete copy of them, except they don't have an Anais of their own, and end up falling into their ultimate doom, never to be seen again. This episode shows just how important of a role Anais plays in her family, and why the whole Watterson family is adored by fans. But Anais isn't perfect. Although most people generally like her, some people also have negative opinions about her. Anais is a morally bad character. She is narcissistic sometimes and can look down on others. Though Anais is caring, she is morally bad, but not the worst. I don't dislike any, but if I had to pick one, Anais talks too much and is quite up herself. And even though she acts all serious, it's hard to take her seriously when she is just 4 years old. But that mix of brains, sass, and heart is what makes her such a standout character in the show. But if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed. We're getting really close to 100K. And if everybody watching subscribed right now, we could hit it super fast. Also, I'm ranking every episode of Gumball, including season 7 at 100K. So if you want to torture me, subscribe. That's gonna be like a 7-hour video. What? No, please don't subscribe.